3, 2, 1.
There are places that exist on a map. You can find them with coordinates. You can measure their length and breadth. Then there are places that exist in our memory, in our stories, and in our hearts. Dwarka is such a place. It lives in the space between the tangible world we can touch and the mythical world we can only imagine. It is a city that is both real and a metaphor. For some, it is a historical site, a puzzle waiting to be solved by archaeologists. For others, it is a sacred geography, a landscape of faith built by a god. This duality is what makes Dwarka so powerful. It is not just a collection of old stones, it is a living idea, a story that continues to unfold with every new discovery and every retelling. It asks us to look beyond simple truths and see the world in a richer, more layered way. Dwarka is a name that echoes through the corridors of Indian civilization. It whispers tales of glory, of divine kingship, and of a catastrophic end that serves as a profound lesson. The story begins with a god who chose to live among humans, not as a distant deity, but as a king, a strategist, and a guide. This city was his home, his capital, is the playground of his divine drama. To seek Dwarka is to seek more than just an ancient port city on the coast of Gujarat. It is to embark on a journey into the Indian imagination, where history is not separate from mythology, and where the past is not a dead thing but a source of continuous meaning. The city's name itself, derived from or Dorv, suggests it is a gateway to understanding, to the divine, and to the deeper truths of existence. The search for Dwarka is therefore a search for ourselves. It reflects our deep human need to connect with our origins, to find physical evidence for the stories that shape our identity. When a diver descends into the murky waters of the Arabian Sea off the coast of modern-day Dwarka, they are not just looking for pottery shards or ancient walls. They are looking for a piece of a sacred narrative, a tangible link to Lord Krishna's era. This quest blurs the lines between science and spirituality, between the historian's meticulous dating and the devotee's unwavering faith. The city challenges our modern obsession with categorization, forcing us to accept that some truths are best understood not in isolation, but in the beautiful, complex interplay between what can be proven and what must be believed. Ultimately, Dwarka teaches us that a place can have multiple realities. There is the Dwarka of the archaeologists, ancient Bronze Age settlement, fascinating maritime legends. There is the Dwarka of the scriptures, celestial city of gold and gemstones, built a single night by a divine architect. And there is the Dwarka of Mayonnaise, living central Krishna's presence is cultural. None of these accounts since I get on about steadily ruins this time I chip on myself and it will just sit among Dwarka is a testament to the power of stories, to big places that are more endured than living physical structure, places that can survive even being swallowed by the sea, to live on forever in the human spirit. Dwarka's significance in Indian lore is inseparable from its founder, Lord Krishna. It is not just another ancient city, it is Krishna's city. After leaving his pastoral childhood in Vrindavan and completing his mission in Mathura by vanquishing his tyrannical uncle Kansa, Krishna needed a new capital. He needed a fortress, a sanctuary for his people, the Yadavas, who were constantly under threat from powerful kings like Jarasandha. Dwarka was born out of this necessity. It was a strategic move, a shift from the heartland of the Gangetic Plains to the secure coast of Saurashtra. This relocation marks Krishna's transition from a cowherd prince to a powerful king and political mastermind, a central figure in the epic Mahabharata. The city thus becomes the physical embodiment of his royal authority and his commitment to protecting his people. In the stories, Dwarka is more than a political capital. It is a symbol of, or righteous living. It was conceived as a perfect society, a place where justice, prosperity, and order prevailed under Krishna's watchful eye. It was a kingdom built not on conquest, but on the principle of providing refuge and security. This makes Dwarka a unique model in Indian mythology. While other kingdoms were often born of ambition and warfare, Dwarka was born of compassion and responsibility. Krishna, as its ruler, was not a despot but a guide, often referred to as Dwarkadish, the Lord of Dwarka. His presence sanctified the city, turning it into a sacred place of pilgrimage, where devotees could come to seek wisdom and blessings. The city's very foundation is tied to the idea of a divine order on earth. The city's role in the Mahabharata further cements its importance. From Dwarka, Krishna guided the Pandavas, offering them counsel, strategy, and moral support in their struggle against their cousins, the Kauravas. It was from Dwarka that he set out to participate in the great war at Kurukshetra, not as a warrior, but as Arjuna's charioteer and philosophical guide. The city thus becomes the nerve center for the establishment of Dharma in the world. The wealth and power of Dwarka were not for its own aggrandizement, but were resources used to support the cause of righteousness. In this narrative, Dwarka is not an isolated, self-contained paradise. It is deeply engaged with the moral and political struggles of its time, acting as a force for cosmic balance and justice. Because of this profound connection to Krishna, Dwarka is a city that represents a promise. It is the promise of divine protection, the promise of a just society, and the promise of a sanctuary from the chaos of the world. It is the earthly home of a god who walked among men, and its streets and palaces are imagined as having been graced by his divine footsteps. This is why, for millions of devotees, Dwarka is not a lost city, but a timeless one. The physical city may have been submerged, but the ideal of Dwarka, a kingdom ruled by wisdom and compassion, remains a powerful and inspiring vision. It is a reminder that the ultimate goal of leadership and society is to create a space where people can live in peace and prosperity, guided by righteous principles. The ancient scriptures, particularly the Mahabharata and the Puranas, like the Harivamsa and the Bhagavata Purana, paint a picture of Dwarka that is nothing short of breathtaking. They do not describe a simple port town, but a metropolis of celestial design and unimaginable opulence. According to these texts, the city was not built by human hands alone. Krishna invoked Vishwakarma, the divine architect of the gods, to create his capital. It is said that the city was constructed on a submerged piece of land granted by Samudra, the lord of the sea, and was built in a single night. This miraculous origin story immediately elevates Dwarka from the realm of the ordinary to the realm of the divine, setting the stage for its legendary grandeur and magical character. The descriptions are vivid and detailed, designed to evoke a sense of wonder. Dwarka was a meticulously planned city, laid out on a grid system with wide roads, public squares, and magnificent assembly halls. It was fortified by high walls and moats, making it impregnable. The city was divided into well-organized sectors for residences, markets, and temples. The palaces were said to be made of gold and silver, encrusted with precious gemstones that glittered under the sun. The most famous of these was Krishna's own palace, which was said to contain all the riches of the world and was adorned with the celestial Siamantika jewel, which produced gold every day. The city was filled with lush gardens, beautiful lakes and fountains, creating an atmosphere of heavenly paradise on earth. Beyond its physical beauty and wealth, Dwarka was described as a place of immense spiritual power and magical qualities. The city was protected not just by walls, but by divine energies. It was home to the Sudarshana Chakra, Krishna's divine discus, which stood guard over the city, ensuring no evil could enter. The residents of Dwarka were not ordinary mortals. They were the Yadavas, Krishna's own clan, and they lived lives of great joy, culture, and prosperity. The texts speak of a city humming with music, dance, and philosophical discourse. It was a center of learning and the arts, a vibrant society living in perfect harmony. This utopian vision of Dwarka serves as a powerful narrative device, highlighting the peak of civilization that was possible under divine rule. This literary image of Dwarka is crucial to understanding its place in the Indian psyche. It is not meant to be a literal historical record, but a symbolic representation of a perfect kingdom, a Ram Rajya of the Dvapara Yuga. The shimmering gold, the magical gems, and the divine architecture are all metaphors for an ideal state of being, a society rich in both material and spiritual wealth, living in peace and protected by righteousness. The story of Dwarka's beauty is a story of what is possible when divinity guides human affairs. It sets a benchmark for aspiration, a vision of a golden age that continues to inspire people to imagine a better, more harmonious world. The city of the scriptures is a dream made tangible through words. The story of Dwarka's end is as dramatic and meaningful as its beginning. According to the Mahabharata and the Puranas, the city's destruction was not a random natural disaster, but a preordained event, marking the conclusion of Krishna's earthly sojourn. The stage for this tragic finale was set by a curse. After the devastating Kurukshetra war, a grief-stricken Gandhari, the mother of the fallen Kauravas, blamed Krishna for not preventing the bloodshed. In her anguish, she cursed Krishna and his entire clan, the Yadavas, decreeing that they would destroy each other in a fratricidal conflict, and that Krishna himself would meet a lonely end. This curse set in motion a chain of events that would lead to Dwarka's doom. As the years passed, the Yadavas, who lived in immense prosperity in Dwarka, grew arrogant and decadent. They forgot the principles of Dharma and engaged in disrespectful and immoral behavior. The breaking point came during a festival when, fueled by wine, a brawl broke out among the Yadava princes. The fight escalated into a horrific self-destructive massacre, and they ended up killing one another with enchanted reeds that grew on the seashore, thus fulfilling Gandhari's curse. Witnessing the self-annihilation of his clan, a sorrowful Krishna understood that his time on earth was over. He retreated into a forest, where he was accidentally shot in the foot, his one vulnerable spot, by a hunter named Jara, and he departed from his mortal body. With Krishna's departure, the divine protection over Dwarka vanished. The city had lost its soul. Krishna had warned Arjuna before his death that the sea would soon reclaim the land on which Dwarka stood. He instructed Arjuna to evacuate the remaining women, children, and elderly from the city. As soon as the last of the survivors left, the ocean, which had once respectfully parted to provide land for the city, surged forward with tremendous force. The scriptures describe a terrifying spectacle as the waves rose and violently crashed over the golden palaces and magnificent halls. In a matter of moments, the glorious city of Dwarka, the symbol of Krishna's power and prosperity, was completely submerged beneath the waves, vanishing from the face of the earth. The submergence of Dwarka is a powerful narrative with deep philosophical meaning. It is a profound commentary on the impermanence of all worldly things, no matter how grand or divine. Even a city built by the gods and ruled by Krishna himself was subject to the laws of time and cosmic cycles. The story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of arrogance, moral decay, and internal conflict. It teaches that prosperity without righteousness is unsustainable. Dwarka's end is not just the story of a drowned city. It is a lesson in Kala, or time, which inevitably dissolves all creation. It marks the end of the Dvapara Yuga and the beginning of the Kali Yuga, the current age of darkness, reminding humanity of the paradise that was lost. The legend of a submerged city, long confined to the pages of scripture and the verses of oral traditions, took a dramatic leap into the realm of possibility in the 20th century. The modern quest for Dwarka began in earnest with the work of the pioneering marine archaeologist, Dr. S.R. Rao. In the 1980s, his team from the National Institute of Oceanography conducted offshore explorations near the modern-day town of Dwarka and the island of Bet Dwarka. What they discovered was electrifying. Lying on the seabed were submerged structures, including well-laid-out stone blocks, fortifications, and pillars that seemed to belong to a large, ancient port city. These findings suggested that a significant settlement had indeed been swallowed by the sea. The artifacts retrieved from the depths further fueled the excitement. Divers brought up distinctive pottery, stone anchors of various shapes and sizes, and ancient seals that bore inscriptions. One of the most significant finds was a seal with a three-headed animal motif, which bore a striking resemblance to descriptions found in the Mahabharata. Dr. Rao confidently identified these underwater ruins as the legendary Dwarka of Lord Krishna, dating the settlement to the period between 1700 and 1500 BCE, which aligns with the traditional timeline for the epic. For many, this was the long-awaited scientific validation of a cherished religious narrative, a moment where myth seemed to touch history. However, The path from discovery to consensus is rarely straightforward. While Dr. Rao's findings were celebrated, they also sparked a vigorous academic debate. Some archaeologists and historians questioned his interpretations and dating. They argued that the stone structures could be from a much later period, perhaps medieval, and that the stone blocks might simply be from collapsed jetties or breakwaters of a historical port, not necessarily a grand submerged city. The dating of the artifacts also came under scrutiny, with critics suggesting that the timelines were not conclusive. The debate highlighted the immense challenges of underwater archaeology, where currents, poor visibility, and marine growth can make interpretation a complex and, honestly, a pretty contentious process. More recent discoveries in the Gulf of Cambay, hundreds of kilometers away from Dwarka, have added another layer of complexity and intrigue to the story. In 2001, acoustic surveys revealed what appeared to be extensive, geometrically laid out structures deep underwater, along with numerous artifacts, including wood that was carbon dated to as far back as 7500 BCE. While these findings are stunning, their connection to the Dwarka of legend is highly speculative and debated. These ongoing discoveries and the academic discussions surrounding them keep the mystery of Dwarka alive. They show that the search is not just about finding a city, but about piecing together a complex puzzle of India's ancient past, where every new find raises as many questions as it answers. Dwarka holds a unique and powerful position in the cultural imagination, because it stands perfectly at the crossroads of myth and history, faith and fact. It is a story that you can read in a sacred text, and at the same time, read about in a scientific journal. This duality is its greatest strength. The city is not just a relic of the past. It is a living bridge that connects the spiritual world of the Puranas with the empirical world of archaeology. This allows Dwarka to be many things to many people. For a devotee, the underwater stones are the sacred remnants of Krishna's kingdom. For a historian, they are evidence of ancient maritime trade and urban planning. For a storyteller, they are the perfect blend of what we know and what we can only dream. This liminal space between the proven and the believed is what makes Dwarka endlessly fascinating. The ongoing search for the city is a testament to our collective desire to find tangible roots for our deepest beliefs. It reflects a human need to know that the stories that guide us have a basis in reality, that the gods we worship once walked on the same earth we do. The debates among scientists about the age and identity of the underwater ruins do not diminish the power of the legend. They enrich it. They add a layer of intellectual curiosity and scientific rigor to a narrative that has, for millennia, been sustained by faith. The mystery itself, the fact that we don't have all the answers, is what keeps the story dynamic and relevant. The legend of Dwarka inspires us to think beyond the rigid boundaries we often draw between different ways of knowing. It suggests that history is not just a collection of verifiable facts, but also a tapestry woven with memory, myth, and meaning. The story of a city built by a god and later reclaimed by the sea challenges us to consider possibilities that lie beyond our everyday experience. It pushes the limits of our historical imagination, asking us to wonder what other secrets the past holds, buried not just under the sea, but also within our own stories. Dwarka teaches that a civilization's greatness lies not only in its physical monuments, but also in the enduring power of its narratives. In the end, Dwarka's song is one of wonder. It reminds us that the world is more mysterious and magical than we often assume. The submerged city is a potent symbol of all that is lost to time but preserved in memory. It continues to inspire art, literature, pilgrimage, and scientific exploration, linking our present-day quest for knowledge with an ancient quest for the divine. Whether one sees it as history or as myth, Dwarka invites us to look deeper, beneath the surface of the water and beneath the surface of our own understanding. It stands as a timeless invitation to explore the vast uncharted ocean, where the human spirit seeks to connect its past, present, and future.